Today we're doing Tzadik Zayin. We're learning Tzadik Zayin, Amud Aleph, and we're about 12 lines down. The line starts B'cheikecha. We're starting from Amar Rabbi. There's a colon there, so it's a new piece. It seems like it's a continuation of the Agadata Gemara that we had before. Amar Rabbi v'tim Rabbi Yisrael. So it's 97a. Rabbi says, and some say that Rabbi Yisrael says, Mida Teva Meher Slavim Mida Promise. God's attribute of kindness is quicker than his attribute of punishment. It's more quick to get results. Dila B'Mida Promise. When it comes to punishment, Ksiv Vayitzia B'Ina Yada Mitzras Kashelik. Moshe took his hand out of his pocket or out of his shirt, and behold, his hand was tzeras. This when he was going in front of Pare at the beginning. Eily b'mida teva. However, when it comes to the attribute of kindness, he takes it out from his pocket or its chest, and behold, it has returned like his healthy flesh. That means that it's already healed. That means what does that tell us? When he takes it out, it's not that it healed when it came out. It was already healed inside. Takes it out, and behold, it had healed already inside. That means that the healing comes quicker than the punishment. Okay. Now it says, Aaron's staff swallowed up their staffs. So Rabbi says this is a miracle inside another miracle. It means that the snake, to swallow up other snakes, that would have been a miracle. But it turned back into a staff. And then as a staff, it swallowed up the other staffs. That's a miracle in a miracle. Yeah, I'm waiting when I learn this Gemara, someone to tell me that's so not true. On the movie, it was a snake. Anyway. Okay, so now we're going back to some halacha. The Mishnah we learned about someone that throws from a Rosh Hashanah to another Rosh Hashanah. It's like throwing across the street, or along the same side of the street. And he passes over a Rosh Hashanah. So we said that it's a machlekes. Rabbi Akiva says Chaim, Chachamim say Pata. So the case is not so clear what exactly we're talking about, and that's what's going to be this Gemara. It's going to define the machlekes, what exactly, in what situation is the machlekes, and then we'll figure out what they're arguing about. So, Rabbi has a question. This question goes like this. Lamata me'asara pligi. One possibility is that Rabbi Akiva and the Chacham are arguing when he threw it underneath 10 tvachim. So he threw it across the street or down the street under 10 tvachim. Ubahapligi in the machlekes is as follows: the Mar Savar, the first opinion holds, Rabbi Akiva holds, Kluta Kamisha Hancha. It's something that flying, it's as if it landed, right? My example for this is my kids that like to say that they were in more states. So they say, well, the plane on the way to Los Angeles flew over, Wyoming. Okay, so Rabbi Akiva holds Kut Kamishon. So therefore it landed in Rosh Hashanah. So that's why he's chayev. Because it was in Rosh Hashanah. Marsa, the Chachamim hold Lo yomrin kluta kamishancha. Chachamim say we don't say kluta kamishancha. It did not land there, so therefore it passed through. But that wasn't considered that it stopped in Rosh Hashanah, went from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah. But let's say he threw it over 10 tefachim. What would Rabbi Kiva say there? It's over 10 tefachim, and we know over 10 tefachim in Rosh Hashanah is a makam p'tur. Everyone would say pater. Why? Even if you say kluta k'misha, but it's not like it landed on the floor. It's like it landed wherever it was. That's like it landed there, in the airspace. In that airspace, it's a makam p'tur. Okay, and we have to add one point. Okay, Moshit is like this anomaly. Moshit means to pass. And there's this, I mentioned at the beginning of a Zayrek that we're going to have a halacha here that changes the way we think about this. Since in the Mishkan, they passed the boards, the beams of the Mishkan from one wagon to the next. Now, even though that wagon was above 10 tefachim, nevertheless, it's still chayiv. Doesn't fit with anything else that we know. Above 10 tefachim. Okay, let me clarify. If someone's walking in the street carrying something, he's mavir dalet amas b'shus rabim. So even though he's holding it up here, but that's mavir, that's carrying it. His feet are on the floor. It's considered like he's carrying in the b'shus rabim, even though the item is above 10 tefachim. If he throws something above 10 tefachim, then that's considered, and it lands above 10 tefachim. That's considered a makam p'tur, and there was no malacha there. If he passes something, his moshit, he passes it above 10 tefachim, then he's going to be chayiv, even though he might have stayed in his location. So moshit is different than zayrek. Above 10 tefachim, moshit is chayiv, zayrek is pater. That's what's going to come out from this. We do not learn zayrek mi moshit. When does Rabbi Kiva hold zayrek is chayiv? Under 10 tefachim, because of kluta k'mishach. That's one option. Vei dilma, another option. The ma'ila me'asar pligi, the machlekes is above 10 tefachim. The baha pligi and the machlekes is as follows. The mar sava, Rabbi Kiva holds yafin zayrek mi moshit. That I learned zayrek mi moshit. I learned throwing is from passing. Just like passing from one wagon to the other in the Mishkan, that was considered the malacha. So to throwing, what's the difference? You stay in one place and you use energy to get an item to the next area. So if it's heavy, you can't throw it, so you pass it. So therefore you chayiv. Marsav, the Chacham say, that you don't learn tzarek from Moshe, so you pater. But regarding kluta k'misha hancha, abalamata miyud, divrei kol chayiv. But if it's under 10 tefachim, everyone holds chayiv. So it's interesting. It's a shaila what the machlekes is. Would Rabbi Kiva say chayiv above yud because we learned tzarek from Moshe, or would the Chachamim say, in that case, if that's the case, then under 10 tefachim, everyone holds chayiv because kluta k'mishancha. Or do we say no? Do we say Rabbi Kiva holds pater above yud, and the Chachamim would say pater even under yud? It's only Rabbi Kiva that says chayiv under yud because kluta k'mishancha. So why would the divrei kol chayiv in the second case everyone hold chayiv under yud? My time kluta k'mishancha dami. Kluta k'mishancha, as it's passing through under 10 tefachim, yeah, it's considered like it landed. Okay. So we have a question what the machlekes is between Rabbi Kiva and the Chachamim. Kiva says chayiv, Chachamim say pater, and we don't know in what scenario they're arguing. Amar Rabbi Yosef. Rabbi Yosef says, Hamilsi b'leil Rav Chisda. This question that Rabbi had was also asked to Rav Chisda. Upashten elei Rav Hamnun. was asked Rav Chizon, Rav Hamnuna answered it. Meha, from the following brisa. Okay. We're going to get an answer now. It's not going to resolve everything because it's going to be a machlekes. So let's see. It says, Mirishus hayachid l'rishus hayachid, ba'ivir b'rishus harabim atzma. So one part of this brisa is very, very clear, and one part is very vague. From Rishus HaYachid to Rishus HaYachid, but it passed through the actual Rishus HaRabim. Well, passing through the actual Rishus HaRabim seems to tell me that it went within 3 tvachim of the floor. That's what it sounds like. So that's very defined. Rishus HaRabim Atzma. The word Atzma there is more defined than we have in other places. However, when it says Rishus HaYachid or Rishus HaYachid, it didn't tell me how it got it. It doesn't tell me, did he walk it, did he throw it, did he pass it? It doesn't tell me that's undefined. So Rabbi Kiva Mechayev, in this case, Rabbi Kiva says Chayev, Chacham Peichim. I'm going to say Pater. Now, because we have one thing here in this process that's very clear, we're going to use like a process of elimination to figure out what the machlekes is. So, midakamer b'shus harabim atzma. Since it says b'shus harabim atzma, pshita lamata me'asar pligi. Obviously, it's below 10. Is it below 3? No, below 10. I said below 3. It's definitely below 10. Doesn't have to be below 3. It's definitely in the actual Rishus HaRabim area, not above 10. That's clear. Okay. So it's below 10. Ubamai. Okay, now we have to discuss what the machlekes is. Eily b'mavir. If you say that he was walking and he moved, so what's the other? Okay, b'mavir, that he's walking from Rishus HaYachid to Rishus HaYachid and he passes through Rishus HaRabim. Below 10 tefachim, he's going to be chayev. However, there's a diak here. It says Rishus HaRabim atzma. Now, Rabbi Akiva says chayev. According to Rabbi Akiva, why does it have to be Rishus HaRabim atzma? Maybe even if he's carrying it above 10. So, if you're walking, it doesn't matter if you're carrying it like this or if you're carrying it like this. However you're carrying it in Rishus HaRabim, if you're walking through Rishus HaRabim, you're chayiv, because the people that were transporting the holy items of the Mishkan, they carried it like this. That's right, like on the. That's not there's the grapes on the Carmel Mar. They carried the Yaron like this. And, okay. So why is it dafka below? So that can't be the case. It can't be that we're talking about that he's mavir, that he's walking. Elalav b'zoyrek. It must be that he's throwing. Aha. He's throwing an item through a Rishus HaRabim. We now have what the machlekes is. Rabbi Kiva says chayiv only below 10. But above 10, he'd be exempt. Okay, so this means that the machlekes Rabbi Kiva and the Chachamim, Shema Mina beklutik mishoncha pligi Shema Mina. The machlekes is if we say an item that's passing through, that's flying through an area, is it considered like it stopped in that area? There's a machlekes Rabbi Kiva and the Chachamim. So what's the criteria? I mean, the definitions of this Gemara is that below 10 tefachim in Rishus HaRabim is considered Rishus HaRabim. Above 10 tefachim in Rishus HaRabim is a makom p'tur. Rabbi Kiva says that if something passes through a Rishus HaRabim, from one Rishus HaYachid to the other Rishus HaYachid, it's chayev. We're now saying that it's because it passed beneath 10 tefachim, so it passed through the actual Rishus HaRabim, and we say that as it's passing through, it's as if it stopped there. Passing through is like it stopped. It's like as if it was placed down. If that's the case, then it stops in Rosh Hashanah. You're chayev for transporting from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah, and then again from Rosh Hashanah to back to Rosh Hashanah. But it's a Talda b'Makamav that the Gemara is going to get into, because the Av is the taking out into Rosh Hashanah. Okay. So we seem to have the Machlekes Rabbi Kiva and the Chacham. I skipped by one sugya here quickly. It has to do with if someone walks through Rosh Hashanah without stopping, goes from Rosh Hashanah to another Rosh Hashanah, and he walks through Rosh Hashanah. We mentioned that it could be, this could have been that case. The only problem is that, why did we say below 10? It could have said above 10. Because he would have been chayiv. Rabbi Kiva would have said chayiv in both of those, because the Masa B'nei Kahas, the children of Kas, carried the Aron like that. That's considered carrying, even if it's above 10. Just need to point out that itself is a machlekes if you don't stop in the Rosh Hashanah. Ben Azai held that mahalach ka'im edami, walking is like standing. So even though you didn't stop, it's as if you stopped. That would have been the explanation for Rabbi Akiva over there before. We said that that's not the machlekes. We said the machlekes is regarding throwing, but regarding walking, probably everyone would say chayev. That would fit with Ben Azai that holds mahalach ka'im edami. Okay, so we ended up saying that the machlekes between Rabbi Kiva and the Chachamim is throwing under 10 tefachim. And the machlekes is kluta k'misha hancha, from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah. Pliket Rabbi Lazar. However, this conclusion that you've just reached, based on Rav Hamnuna's response to a question they asked Rav Chisda, this argues with Rabbi Lazar. Rabbi Lazar is in Eretz Yisrael. Rav Hamnuna and Rav Chisda are in Babel. Rabbi Lazar says, Damar Rabbi Lazar, Mechayiv hayir Rabbi Kiva afilu l'mayla miyud. Rabbi Kiva says that you're chayiv if it passes through Rosh Hashanah, even if it's above 10 tefachim. Above 10 tefachim in Rosh Hashanah is a makom p'tur. It's an area of exemption. It's not a real Rosh Hashanah. It's not a real public domain. How is that possible? Well, he learns from Zerek Mimoshet, because if you pass it through, you'd be chayiv, a special case that we learn in this parak. So Zerek as well, you would be chayiv. Well, there's a little bit of an issue here. Bryce said the machlekes is regarding Rosh Hashanah atzma, which has to be below 10. So Rabbi Lazar would explain it as follows. That's lahidiacha keicha derabanan. That's coming to tell you that the Rabbanan are exempt you, not only if you throw it above 10, but they exempt you even if you throw it below 10. Because they don't say kluta k'mishancha. Rabbi Akiva says kluta k'mishancha, and he learns Zerek Mimoshet. Okay? So he enlarges the case, the possibilities of explaining the Mishnah, the Machlekes Rabbi Kiva and the Chachamim. The Mishnah was very undefined. Is it below 10 or above 10? And Rabbi Kiva says chayiv. It says both. Okay. The Rabbi Lazar argues on Rabbi Chilki bar Tuvia. So now we're going to have a third option here. The Amar Rav Chilki bar Tuvi says, Taich shleisha divrei kol chayiv. If it's below 3 tefachim from the ground, everyone holds chayiv. That's mamish like it landed. If you throw it low down, I don't even know what sports you would have that in. It has to be low, just like that. We don't have any games like that, I don't think, in America. Let's see. If you're in Rosh Hashanah, you're throwing it across to another Rosh Hashanah, and there's Rosh Hashanah in the middle, and it's within about a foot from the ground. You throw it right across. It's not bowling, because that would be rolling on the ground, but similar to that.
It's called rioting.
Okay, that doesn't define where. That has no There's no definition. Okay. Everyone would agree that's chayiv because it's so close to the ground, it's considered like it landed on the ground. What about if it's above 10 tvachim? This is officially a makom patur. That's the rekol pater. Everyone would say pater. I guess everyone would agree that lo yalfinan zayrek mi we don't learn from the halacha of passing. Passing, we said, would be chayav. Zayrek, everyone would agree, would be pater. So it's different than walking. Walking would be chayav, but throwing would be pater. Over a Rosh Hashanah, over 10 tvachim in Rosh Hashanah. Gimel Vad Yod banu machlekes Rabbi Kiva Rabbanan. From 3 to 10 tvachim, it's about a foot, about 12 inches to 40 inches. That area is machlekes Rabbi Kiva and Rabbanan. Rabbi Kiva says chayiv, and Rabbanan say pater. Machlekes says you're going to kaluta kamishon. If you say something that's passing through an area, it's as if it landed. Yeah. You have like certain glasses that you can see the camera things or the alarm systems. There's like this, you break a beam, certain glass you can see that. So you need like halachic glasses as you walk through Rosh Hashanah under 3, everyone says chayev, and then it would be like different color in between 3 and 10, and then above would be just clear because it's a makom patur. It says pater. Ketanya nami hachi. Started in a brayso b'toich gimel support for Rabbi Chilkiah Bar Tuvi. B'toich gimel under 3 tvachim, everyone says chayiv. L'mayla miyud, above 10 tvachim, enei ela mishum shvus. Okay, he throws in another thing of another card to something to worry about. Above yud, everyone says pater. However, there's a rabbinic issue. Shvus means a rabbinic issue. What's a rabbinic issue? It's that it may be someone else's property. Rosh Hashanah. But you can't carry from one Rosh Hashanah to another Rosh Hashanah without an Erev Chatzeres. So you have to like split, you have to join food together like in an apartment complex. So above 10 tvachim, there's no issue of carrying there's no issue of daraisa, of carrying, but there is the Erev Chatzeres issue. Then it's mutter. But if he owns both properties, he owns this real estate here and there, and he throws from one to the other, so across the street, so then that's allowed. There's no, it's his own property, so he can do that. He doesn't need an Erev for his own. We see it very clear. You have a brayso that supports Rabbi Chilkiah Bar Tuvi. Amar Mar. Okay, we go back to explain the brayso. If it's his own property, it's mutter. There's no issue of Erevim. Leimetevitiv to the Rav. Seems like this is going to be a kasha on Rav, this brayso. Why? From the following statement of Rav. The Itmar, you could say Rav argues, because Rav is a Tano Palak. We try to avoid them. The Itmar was statement of Amiran. Shnei batim v'shnei tzidir shusirab. 2 houses, 2 across the street. Rabbi bar Rav Huna Marav asal lizrik mizel hazeh. Rabbi bar Rav Huna, in the name of Rav, that's going to be our issue here, because we have a statement of Rav that says you're not allowed to throw from one to the other. From here, I can say, well, it's someone else's property and it's rabbinic. So far, I have no problem. However, Shmuel Amar Mutter Lizrik Mizel Hazeh. Shmuel says that you are allowed to throw. Once Shmuel says that you are allowed to throw across the street, it's obviously his own property. Or else you have Erevin. So it must be it's his own property. Now we go back to Rav. Rav says that it's Chayav. Not Chayav, he says Asr. That means even if it's his own property, it's a problem. So the brayso said if it's his own property, it's mutter. Rav says it's a problem. It's a kasha on Rav. How did we determine that it's his own property? From the fact that there's a machlekes Rav and Shmuel, where Shmuel says mutter. It can't be mutter if it's someone else's property. must be that we're dealing with the same owner to both of these properties, both Rishus HaYachid. Nevertheless, Rav says Asr. So the Gemara says, one second, you're forgetting, we've already discussed that. It says, V'lavni yukimna lahika in the midlichad and mitzichad. Talking about that these two properties were not at the same level. One of them was higher and one's lower. So therefore, there's a concern that he might not aim properly. If it's directly across, so you can pitch the ball across directly into the other balcony, straight into the house. But here, one was on floor 9 and one was on, what are we going with? We're over 10 Tvachim? No. We're talking about that we're within 10 Tvachim. What did we say? No, this is L'mayla miyad. This is above 10 Tvachim. So yeah, he's throwing from balcony to balcony. And we're saying that he's exempt because it's above 10 Tvachim, but Rav says that it's Asr. So we said it's not because it's someone else's property. It's his own property, but it's still Asr. Because Rav is concerned that he might miss. Because it's not on the same level. They may fall. Now, so what if it falls? Say in a miskaf and you were attempting to get it across. That shouldn't be a malacha. Problem is that it may fall, then you're going to run down and bring it back up. That's going to be mechaber. So that's why we tell you that you're not allowed to throw across if it's not on the same level, even above 10 Tvachim. That's Rav's opinion. Okay, Amalei Rav Chisda l'Rav Hamnuna. Rav Chisda says to Rav Hamnuna, V'amila Rav Hamnuna l'Rav Chisda. It's interesting what's going on over here. Minaha milsadam rabbanon kol pachas migimel kalavadami. Where do you get this idea? Where the rabbis get this idea that any area that's smaller than 3 Tvachim, 3 handbreadths, is considered attached? We have this all over. We have this regarding Erevin, different things, Sukkah, Shabbos, anything that's within 3 Tvachim of the next pole, then the middle area, the gap, is considered as if it's closed. We say this regarding schach, a bunch of things. We say this. Where did we get this from? The Gemara is discussing the fact that the floor of the Rishus HaRabim is considered like it landed if you throw under 3. This is a little surprising because Rav Hamnuna and Rav Chisda earlier said that the machlekes is under 10 Tvachim between Rabbi Akiva. They didn't make this distinction about 3, 10, and then above 10. That was Rav Chilki bar Tuvi. Anyway, but we are going back and discussing this area under 3 Tvachim and Rishus HaRabim. It says, you have to say this, or else it's just impossible. You can't say that the Rishus HaRabim, public domain, needs to be perfectly flat for it to be considered public domain. There's going to be, areas that are going to go up and going to go down. So we say 3 Tvachim is all considered public domain. Otherwise, if someone throws something across a public domain, you're going to say, there was an area that was above a Makom P'tur because the street went like that. So we have to give 3 Tvachim of margin. 3 Tvachim margin. Okay. Otherwise, Malakad Rehitni is the things that's used to scrape off wood to make it flat, like the door should close properly and all of that. Ihachi Gimel Nami. Well, if that's the case, then it could be above 3 also. Why do you get 3 specifically? The Su, and now we have another question. But now we have a Mishnah. It's definitely quoted in Sechta Sukkah. It's a Mishnah in Sukkah. Mashal shel defanis mal ma'alamata. Someone is weaving a wall of a sukkah. He's weaving and he starts on the top. And I guess he has like some things. And he starts to put his material starting from the top, and he's working his way down the wall. So by the time he reaches the bottom, he's out of material. He's still above 3 tvachim. Then it's psula. There's one opinion that holds that it's pasul. Pachis migimel ksheira. But if it's less than 3, then it's kosher. Now this doesn't have to do with the street being flat. So Rashi says we add 3 words here. According to that, what is there to say? Doesn't have to do with the margin of the marginal the amount of area that the street make it flat. Where it says but there's a special reason. We're looking for an actual wall of a sukkah. What's considered a wall? Something that the goats can't jump through. Goats can get through areas that are small, but 3 tvachim would be the limit. So 3 tvachim, if it's under 3 tvachim, then the goats can't come through. So we're trying to have a complete wall. Have a complete wall, so you can do that halachically. The only thing is, if you want to do it halachically, in other words, you don't have a real wall, but you have a halachic wall. It's considered like a wall. Then at least it has to be in a way where you don't have actually things jumping through it. So if you made a wall, it doesn't go all the way to the bottom, but nothing can get through it, so then that's accepted. But if you make a wall that doesn't get all the way to the bottom, well, we'll say it's halachically a wall somehow, it's not going to work. There's a concept called good achis, where a wall can travel down fictitiously just because you have 10 tvachim somewhere. But you can't do that if there's actually animals that are jumping through. So you can't, then it's clearly not a wall. So if it's within 3 tvachim from the floor, then the animals can't get through. There was an area here that a little farm, little Haiti. It's called Earth and Us. Anyway, they had a goat. They have a bunch of goats, but one of them could jump out of the pen and get anywhere. They called it geometry, this one goat. It could get through anything. It was like incredible. It could jump and like get through the way they put the food in. Get through. The 3 tvachim is like the size. Okay. It's about a foot, 12 inches. The Gemara says, Teinach lamata. That makes sense when you're building the wall and you started from the top and you reached to the bottom. But what about when you say this regarding the schach? It says you can't have the schach removed from the walls 3 tvachim. It needs to be directly against the walls. You can't have an open area there. And that has nothing to do with goats. There's nothing getting through. 3 tvachim must be something more significant than just a marginal error of the Rishus Rabbim or goats getting underneath the sukkah board. Ella, we have to say differently. It's not a logical thing. Concept of lavud, that's halach l'meishim Sinai. Lavud is the word that we use that within 3 tvachim it's considered attached. I don't know what the word lavud means. I don't know exactly. It means this, that within 3 tvachim it's attached. But I don't know what the root is of lavud. We're up to a Tanur Rabbanan. Tanur Rabbanan was taught in the Brisa. If there is Rishus Rabbim on one side, Rishus Rabbim on the other side, and there's a house in the middle, and you threw something through the house. It has 2 windows. Before air conditioning, they used to build houses that you could get a breeze. So there's a door on each side. So you threw it through the house. This is throwing. I assume it's throwing. Rabbi says that Yechayev because it went from Rishus Rabbim public domain to private domain into the house. from private domain, public domain. Rabbi says that you're chayiv. Chum say that you're pater. Rav Shmuel Damri Tavaya Lechiv Rabbi Eily B'Shas Yachid Mekayra. This private domain that it went through, where you have this door on each side of the house, something could go through it. You're only chayiv if there's a roof above that house. I mean, in basic command the mal yadami, because we say the house is considered like it's filled, and so therefore it's considered like it's stopped in the house. Aval sheina mekayra like. But if you threw it over a courtyard, which is also Rishus Yachid, but there's no roof on it, then it's not considered like it's stopped there. Amar Rav Chana, it's either Rav Chana or Rav Chisda. Amar Rav Chana, Amar Rav Yudah Mishmuel. Rav Chana says the name of Rav Yudah Mishmuel, Mechayiv hay Rabbi Shtayim. Rabbi says that you chayiv 2. Why 2? Well, it went in and it went out. Achas mishum eitzah, achas mishum achnasa. I wish the Gemara would have said it the other way because this is confusing to me. Achas mishum eitzah, one is on its way, that it was taken out, and one is that it went in. My understanding is that it went in and then it went out. So, but I don't know if the Gemara is precise about that. So there's 2 here. It went into the house and it went out of the house. Now, there's a problem over here. We learned that there's an Av and there's a Tolda. There's a primary malacha and then there's an offshoot. The primary is taking out of a house into a public area. The offshoot, the Tolda, is taking inside a house, inside a private area, from a public area. So Yosef Rav Chana Kakashali. Rav Chana is sitting and he asks a question. He said over a statement from Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel that Rabbi says that you chayiv 2. That's the way Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel, that's the way Shmuel is explaining the opinion of Rabbi. And Rav Chana is saying this over, he has a kasha. L'meimra, on top of Tzadik Zayin Amud Beis, is this to say the Mechayev Rabbi Atolda b'makamav? That Rabbi holds that you chayiv, when you do an Av in the Tolda, you chayiv 2. We learned that there's 39 malachas, 39 avis malachas, to teach me that that's the maximum amount of karbanos that a person would have to bring. Because even if you do more malachas, but all of those are toldas, and you're not chayiv more than, if you do a tolda together with the Av, you're only chayiv for the Av. The tolda gets included in that. And here you're telling me that you carried into the house, carried out of the houses too. But Tanya, but it was done in the Brayso Rabbi Emer Dvarim Advarim Eila Advarim. We learn that there's 39 malachas from Dvarim Advarim Eila Advarim. Right? Dvarim is 1. No, Dvarim is 2. Had Dvarim, the extra hey, is 3. And then Eila, we said was 36. 36 plus 3 is 39. Eila Lamitas Malachas Shenemar L'Moshe Misinai. These are the 39 malachas that Moshe said. Moshe told us from Sinai tradition, which means that you only chayev 39 in total. You're not chayev for the toldas. It's a kasha. This is Rav Chana's question on Shmuel's statement that Rabbi says you chayev to. Amalei Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef says to Rav Chana, it could be Rav Chisda, Rav Yosef, and Rav Chisda B'Kla. Ma Raham Asnila. You learned the statement of Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel on Rabbi, and Rabbi says that you're not mechayev atolda b'makamav, that you don't have to bring an extra carbon for the tolda if you did the av. You have a problem, because Shmuel says that Rabbi says you chayev 2. However, Anan, we learned this differently. At Rabbi Yehuda Masninullah, we learned it that it was Rabbi Yehuda. Now, if you're not familiar with this would be a big kasha. Rabbi's name was Rabbi Yehuda, but he's not Rabbi Yehuda. We don't call him Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi is Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi. Whenever we say the name Rabbi Yehuda, it's always Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Eily. He's one of the students of Rabbi Akiva, a different Rabbi Yehuda. He's buried right outside Tzfas Chaim. Follow? Right outside Tzfas, there's a cave. You walk down the steps. Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Eily. So you're saying that Shmuel is taught this statement that Yechayev 2 wasn't about an opinion of Rabbi. It was about an opinion of Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Eily. But like Kashlan, and therefore we don't have a question. Why is it not going to be a question? Because it's possible that Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Eily holds that Yechayev two karbanos for an Av and a Tolda. Because we have no statement from Rabbi Yehuda that tells us that an Av and a Tolda, a primary malacha and a secondary malacha, only get one karban. Could be Rabbi Yehuda holds different than Rabbi, that Av and a Tolda get two karbanos. Okay, now what did it say? Like Kashlan and Tasta was no question. The Tanya was done in the Brisa. It goes like this: Mirshus Yachid, Mirshus Rabim, Ba'avar Arba Amis Mirshus Rabim. We didn't think of this case so far. We had such complicated cases. This is so much more simple. We had cases where you're throwing it through a house and it's going out the other side. Here's another case. You threw it out of a house from Mirshus Yachid to Mirshus Rabim. That's an Av. And from private domain to public domain. But in the public domain, it went 4 amas. It's a Tolda. And so what happens over there? Rabbi Yehuda Mechayev Cham Paichim. This is Chayev and the Cham Sei Pater. Rabbi Yehuda Meshmol Mechayev HaYeruda Shtayim Achas Mishum Mitzav Achas Mishum Avara. Rabbi Yehuda says Yechayev too. One, because you transferred domain. Shusayachet to Rishus Rabin. And then in the Rishus Rabin itself, you went 4 cubits. Yechayev too. The Isal Kadai Techadahum the Mechayev. If you would say that you only Chayev 1, and the Chachamim say Pater entirely, the Chlal, the Rabbanim Pater Legamri, that would mean that the Rabbanim say Pater entirely. The problem is, there's no question that you transferred domain from Rishus Yachid to Rishus Rabin. Question is it considered that it stopped at the beginning and then it traveled another 4? There's ways of looking at it, but wherever it stopped, it's a Rishus Rabin. Wherever it started, it's a Rishus Yachid. The Rabbanan have to say Yechayev 1. It must mean that Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Eily holds that Yechayev 2. That's Shmuel's statement that Yechayev 2 is talking about this case, and it's on Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Eily. So what we're gaining over here is that it's not discussing Rebbe's opinion, it's discussing the opinion of Rabbi Eily, and according to him, you can say that Yechayev with an Av and a Tolda 2 separate kabbanas. It says, how do you know that Rabbi Yehuda holds that Yechayev and a Av and Yechayev and a Tolda, even though you did them both together? And I have 2 questions. The Gemara is going to challenge this twice. This is the first one. It says, Mimai, how do you know that he really holds this? Rabbi Yehuda really holds Yechayev only 1. The Rabbanan Patri Legamri, and the Rabbanan say you're entirely Pater. You threw from a private domain to a public domain, but you're still Pater. Why? What's the case? This guy, he doesn't know how to aim. He doesn't know how much energy to put into his. It's not a good picture. So he says, I'm going to throw it. It should land right outside my door in the Rishus Rabin. It didn't. He threw an extra 4 cubits, an overthrow. He threw it too far. And here's the machlekes. Rabbi Yehuda Savar Amrin Klut Kamisha Huncha. Rabbi Yehuda says, well, it's as if it stopped. I know it passed an extra 4 amas, but it's as if it stopped there. So halachically, it stopped in the place that he wanted it to. That's what he wanted. So therefore, he's chayav. For Rabbanan Savri, now the Gemara here is not discussing. What about the fact that it then continued another 4 amas? That's a huge issue. That's a big problem. Because what the Gemara is trying to do here is the Gemara is going to say that Rabbi Yehuda holds you only chayav 1. Why? Because it stopped right outside his door, which is his kavana, where he wanted it to. Even though it didn't actually, but it's as if it did. Rabbanan Savri Leimin Klut Kamishon Chavaleyasavid Lemachshavte. He didn't do what his kavana was. He did a malacha without kavana. It didn't turn out the way he wanted it to, so he's going to be pater. But really, Rabbi Yehuda doesn't hold that Yechayev on a tolda. If you do it together with the primary malacha, you only chayev 1. He holds like Rabbi. It's like Rabbi Yochanan we had before. It's a kasha. Okay, the Gemara says like Sal Kedaitach. Don't say that. Don't. It shouldn't enter your mind to say that. The Tanya, because we have another statement from Rabbi Yehuda, which seems to prove that he holds that you chayev 2 korbanos, one for the primary and one for the tolda. Brisa goes like this: Rabbi Yehuda Moisef hafashevet hamedaktik. We said there's 39 malachas. Rabbi Yehuda added also shevet. Shevet is straightening out the when you set up the loom, so the warp, the chassis is set up where they need to be separated because you need it to go up and down, up and down. If it's twisted, it's not going to work properly. So you have to separate those strings to make sure that they're not overlapping. That's shevet. It's lining it up properly. There was a stick that they used. It's called shevet, where they would run the stick along the each thread to make sure that it was separated. Medaktik. Medaktik is when they put the woof through the warp, so it's going on and back and forth. If it's pulled too tight, then the whole material is going to be crunched up. So if you bang it, medaktik is the banging of it. It spreads it out to make it smooth, that it shouldn't be crunched up. Rabbi Yehuda is Moisef those malachas. He adds those malachas. Amrlai, the sages said, no, there's only 39. Shevet harei b'chal mesech, medaktik harei b'chal harei. Look, setting up the loom is mesech, setting up the loom. You have to do that as well. That's part of it. Medaktik, banging it, is part of weaving. That's part of weaving. That's the way you weave. It's not a separate malach. Now, the Gemara is thinking over here that what Rabbi Yehuda means to say is that you're really chayev for shevet and medaktik as told us together with mesech and eirik. It's really a tolda, it's really an offshoot. The Gemara says, my love, is Rabbi Yehuda not referring to? That you did all the things. You set up the loom, and you were also shevet, you also lined up the strings. You started weaving, and you also banged it to make sure that it was smooth. See, you did a tolda together with the av. Rabbi Yehuda told him makam av. Rabbi Yehuda holds that yechayev told him makam av. Okay, so now we're back to saying that Rabbi Yehuda says too, that Yechayev too, according to Shmuel's statement on Rabbi Yehuda, it fits. Chayev told him makamav. Gemara says no, doesn't fit again. Why? Mimai. How do you know that that's the pshat? Dil malaylam davdul al-chudei v'halachudei. Maybe you're not doing it together. Maybe you're doing it separate. Rabbi Yehuda told him makamav blame Chayev. And Rabbi Yehuda never said that Yechayev twice, setting up the loom and then lining up the strings. It's maybe lining up the strings is its own malach. And this is what's going on. Rabbi Yehuda savar hani yavasninu. Rabbi Yehuda holds not that it's a tolda, that lining up the strings on the loom is itself an av. That's the way we were learning it before. Anyway, but Rabbanan Sabri Hani told us, and the Rabbanan say that it's told us. Teda, I'll prove it to you that this is the fact. The Ketania was taught Rabbi Yehuda Moisif. Says Rabbi Yehuda adds. What's he adding to? He's adding to the others. If you say we're talking about that Rabbi Yehuda is saying that we have more than 39 avos malachas, more than 39 primary prohibited activities, labors. So he's adding Moisef avos. He's adding more avos, more primary acts. Eily Amrit told us, but if you say that it's told us, in Rabbi Yehuda says Yechayev told him makamav. My Moisef. What do you mean he's adding? Okay. Itmanami. We also have a statement. Rabbi Yehuda says you only chayev one. Wow, it's so clear. Rabbi Yehuda says you only chayev one, even if you did it together. Messes up the statement of Rabbi Yosef before, where he asks on Rav Chana, or he like sort of says to Rav Chana that you learned the opinion of Shmuel that whichever Manda Amar is, whichever opinion is chayev too. You learned it that it's referring to Rabbi. And therefore you have a kasha. How could you be chayev on a av and a tolda together? 2 korbanos. Should only be chayev 1 because it's told the makam av. Rabbi holds you only chayev 1. But for us it's much better. We learned that on Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda holds that told the makam av is chayev 2. So it makes sense. Comes out over here. It's not so. Itmar nami Rabbi Yosef damri tarvayo lechiv Rabbi Dalachas. I don't get how Rabbi Yosef could say. Get how it's like a huge issue. Rabbi Yosef himself is saying what? Rabbi Yosef is contradicting himself. I don't know. Okay. It's interesting. Amalei Ravina Ravashi. We skipped through one point over here. Sorry? You haven't answered it?
Are there two Rabbi Yosefs? Like there's two Rabbi Yehudas, Yehuda Nasi, Rabbi
Yehuda. Oh, I don't know about that. Usually not. Usually Rabbi Yosef is Rabbi Yosef. I forgot his name. Is it Rabbi Yosef Bar Chama? I forgot what his full name is. If it's Rav Chisda, we had two gersayos before between Rav. It's Rav Chana or Rav Chisda on the side of the Gemara. It's Rav Chisda. Rabbi Yosef and Rav Chisda would talk, and Rabbi Yosef was a friend of Rabbi. And Rav Chisda, Rabbi, Rav Chisda, Rabbi Yosef, Rav Chisda. It's all this one generation. I don't know. Okay. Amalei Ravina Ravashi. We jumped down to the end of the Talmudic period. There's a question here, something that we skipped by. We didn't really dwell on. It's a little bit of a problem. It's Ravina asks Ravashi, "Lamai desalika daitin mi kara." The way you were trying to learn this originally, the Mechayev hayu Rabbi Yehuda shtayim, that Rabbi Yehuda says Yechayev too. We're talking about that you throw it out of a house, some item, you throw it out of a house, and it goes 4 cubits in the Rishus Rabbah. Said Yechayev too. The problem is, we said, Ilahacha kavila, lachale kavila. Where do you want it to go? We said, you wanted it to go to land right away. One of the ways of explaining it was he wanted it to land right away. And then we said it's as if it landed, but it continued. So how are you going to explain this? Where did he want it to go? Did he want it to go to the end? Then he shouldn't be chayav for it landing at the beginning. If you wanted it to go over there, then you didn't want it to go over there. Why should he be chayav too? One of them is not where he wanted. And you can only be chayav if you fulfilled your kavanah. So Amalei, Rabashi responded, the way that you would have to learn it is that he says, I don't care where it lands. Oh, you don't care where it lands? Now you can be chayav. He opened up the door to be chayav in any area of it. Now the Gemara says, Pshita. Following case is obvious. If someone intends to throw 8 amas, but he ended up, he didn't make it so far. He only threw 4 amas. Harikasav Shemi Shimon. So it's as if he wrote half the name of Shimon. We said that if he intends to write Shimon, but he stops after the first 2 letters, Shem. So that's considered like he already wrote on Shabbos. Because Shem is also a significant word. So he wrote something that's significant. So here also, he threw 4 amas. So he wanted it to go 8, but he threw 4. That's also significant. But let's say he wanted to throw 4, but he instead he said he threw 8. We say, well, that's good. It went further. Or do we say, well, that's not what he wanted? He wanted it to land in the basket. Whatever. He threw it way over. It's not what he wanted. We're talking about in Rishus Rabbah. The Gemara asks, of course it's not good. Ravina asked Ravashi, how could Rabbi Yehuda say Yechayev too? It's not where he wanted it to land. And Ravashi had to answer that it's where he said, I don't care where it lands, wherever it lands is good. It's mashma from that if he does care where it lands, then it's not good. It has to land exactly where. And with Uda Kamrit, another issue, Harikasav Shemi Shimon, you thought that if you intended to throw 8 amas, and you only threw 4 amas, so that's as if you wrote half a word, which we said is chayev, Midami, is that really a comparison? Writing 2 letters to throwing 4 amas when you intended to throw 8. Over there, Kamad lekasiv Shem lemichtav leShimon. You can't get the name Shimon without first writing the first 2 letters. So you, of course, intended also to write Shem. You wanted more, but you stopped earlier. But that's already a malacha. Over here, Kamad leZarik Arba Lemiz Darki le Tamne. There's 2 ways of reading this. One way of reading it is as a question. And it says, but over here, do I have to have it land after 4 amas for it to get to 8 amas? It doesn't have to land after 4 amas to get to 8 amas. So even what you thought was a pshita, that this is definitely going to be chayav, because you threw part of the way, that's not, and you compared it to writing, that's not a good comparison, because I don't need it to land 4 amas to get to 8 amas. Other way of reading it is you read it straight. The Gemara answers, that it's stuck at the same thing. So, different Rishonim learn this differently if it's read as a question or not. Okay, let's leave right here. See you tomorrow.